The unthinkable just happened. America bombed Iran. For the first time in 45 years, US forces directly attacked Iranian soil, hitting 3 nuclear facilities, including the heavily fortified facility at Fordow. Was it successful in neutralizing Iranian nuclear capabilities? Unconfirmed at this moment in time. The Atomic Agency reports no radiation leaks. If there were leaks, it would suggest uncontrolled nuclear material or a bomb that's slipped and exploded. So none of that. Good stuff. All right, that's a good sign. Trump says these sites were, quote, completely and fully obliterated, end quote, and called the attacks a, quote, massive success. Iran calls it a barbaric violation of international law. So what happens next? Guys, buckle up because we're about to find out together. Why together? Because this conflict is too hot and too current for me to get the news a day before you do, and then we'll put together some nice video and then share it with you so that it's all educational and learning. Intel sources don't work like that. They don't let me see the future. They just let me analyze things well and give you the facts and the evidence-based forecasting. So I know as much as you do, but I'll summarize so that you don't have to stay glued to your news feeds 24/7. Because news outlets will drag you out, so you keep watching them all day. I'm not like that. I'll just post a video giving you the full facts. Now, Iran has 3 immediate options. All of them are terrifying. Option 1, they hit back at American forces scattered across the Middle East right now. We're talking US bases in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, maybe Kuwait, all within range of thousands of Iranian short-range missiles. That's the short-range ones, right? That's the short-range ones. They have mid-range, long-range ones as well, far deadlier, far higher payload capacity. Iran is already threatening exactly this through their state media. Now that America's coming to the war, they say all of those are legitimate targets, right? Option 2, they close the Strait of Hormuz. This is the absolute nuclear option without actually being technically nuclear. Not literally nuclear, but it's a nuclear option. They'll choke off 20% of the world's oil supply and crash the whole global economy overnight. They're like, bang, end of story for everyone. Iran's hardliners are literally calling for this right now. They say the world is an unjust place. We've been treated horrendously. We've been trying to de-escalate, but you've just kept slapping us, hitting us harder and harder and harder, trying to get a reaction. We didn't really give you a reaction, but America came in anyway. You're all, slaves of Israel, da 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 da. So if we go down, we're taking everyone down with us. Come on, let's all go. Potentially. Option 3, they go nuclear. Not build a bomb, but announce they're officially withdrawing from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and then they sprint towards weapons-grade uranium and get the bomb anyway. Despite everything that Israel and America's talking about, they say, well, you forced us into this, we're going for that anyway now. They already have 60% enriched uranium publicly. If Trump's B-2 bombers have not taken out everything like Trump is claiming, but Trump's claims are very, fast and loose with the truth, right? Alternative facts. If they actually literally haven't taken out everything, which is very unlikely, you can't take out everything in a single strike like this. It doesn't work like that. Iran might then decide, now's the time to use what we have left, right? Another option, 3.5, there's a secret option. Iran goes nuclear, right? Literally. The truly nightmare scenario for Iran's adversaries, they announce in response to US bombing, claiming that they've completely destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities and nuclear capability. Iran announces, we not only have not had our facilities completely destroyed, we reveal to you that we already have the bomb. How about that? Now come. What are you going to do? What's your next move? Right? That's an option. That's actually an option. They could reveal they have had a nuke all along, but they haven't revealed it because geopolitically it doesn't work in their favor. It might trigger the war that they're trying to stop. But if the war's already here, they might be like, well, it's already here. So there you go. Look, I've got a nuke. Now what? If it wasn't already explosive, here's what makes it truly explosive. Iran doesn't fight alone. Contrary to what I've said, being analytical and reasonable, Russia has, I said China and Russia wouldn't step in directly, but Russia does have a military treaty with Iran, and China depends on Iranian oil and sees Iran as part of the BRICS and the global south, and losing Iran to sort of Israeli hegemony in the Middle East region, not healthy for China. The Houthis in Yemen are threatening to target US Navy ships in the Red Sea. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Lebanese paramilitary, they're mobilizing. This isn't just America and Israel versus Iran. This is potentially World War III, and we are one step closer, right? I kept saying in my forecasting, World War III is not likely, except in this little niche possibility. Well, it's still, I said 5%, right? Now I would say 10%, because America has stepped into the ring. Stepped into the ring without Iran giving it particularly any reason to step into the ring. There was no escalation on the Iranian side, I have to say, analytically. So this is, of course, the Israel lobby basically forcing Trump's hand. There is other possibilities we'll get to in later videos where this isn't the opening move of America, but rather this is Trump's attempt to start something and end something, just like oh, we came in, we ended it, okay, now the war's over. And Iran might actually say, yeah, you're right, we have no uranium left, you completely took out all our stuff. Whew, that was lucky. Well, our landscape looks a bit different now because of those bunker busters, but at least America came in, got out all within one day and ended the war. That's a possibility, right? But Trump's doubling down, so it's not guaranteed. Trump's doubling down, saying that there are many targets left if Iran doesn't surrender. What kind of surrender? Well, leaving it open-ended like this, saying there's many targets and Iran has to surrender, but they don't actually specify anything, that suggests the US will do more of Israel's bidding till Iran as a state cannot stand. That's a very bad scenario in the Middle East, geopolitically speaking, analytically, for the people. He's bet everything on shock and awe from the US using their B-2 bombers and their bunker busters, forcing Iran to capitulate. But this is not a nation with the people who will bow down easily. They're not. It's not in their genetics to capitulate. It's not in their culture. And timidity has so far been punished, not rewarded by peace and fair treatment. The only way to make Iran truly bow down would be to break its back and bend it by force. But Iran has already survived 40 years of back-breaking sanctions and isolation. So what more will the Yanks do? How far will you go? And while you're trying to go further to appease your Israeli AIPAC lobbying masters, while that happens, America domestically is going to rise up and shout and scream even louder, saying you can't take us to war without congressional approval. And half the country, the Democrats, hate the idea of war. Half of the Republicans hate the idea of war. That's 75%. What are you doing, right? So there'll be a lot of pressure on the US if the US keeps doing more. If the Israelis aren't satisfied, they say, we're not satisfied, Iran's not completely fragmented, there's no revolt yet, we need a revolt, we need Iran to end as a state. We can't just be symbolically like the winner and then Iran quietly builds back up again. But the US at that point, it's still all up in the air. The US might say, no, we've bombed them, we've dropped bunker busters, over half our national bunker buster supply of GBU-57 MOPs, we've just dropped them all, right, on Iran. You can't ask me for more, and for that reason, I'm out, right? The Americans might say that, and Israel might be like, okay, fine. Let's just end it here then. And we'll talk about who comes out the winner if that happens. Now, the next 72 hours will determine whether Trump's gamble prevented a nuclear Iran or started the war and actually gave birth to a nuclear Iran. And the war that might be started might break the Middle East and potentially the world forever. And we'll all show up in the history books in 20 years or 30 years when they're talking about the Third World War. That's just great. That's just great. It's all eyes on Tehran for now to see what Iran does to respond, and I'll keep you posted. God save us.